What is going on, guys? Welcome to Gregor's TV Daily Rewind. This is where we go back a week, give you the past 7 days of tech news in one single video. And we covered a lot of information on the Galaxy S23 line models, and some stuff you probably wanted to know and some stuff you wanted to know, but it's going to make you upset. It's a little good, a bit of good, a little bit of bad. Also, we talk about the Galaxy Z Fold 5, a couple of developments that have leaked out about that phone, and much more. Enjoy this week's tech news. Our story of the day has to do with a little bit of a change and an improvement overall physically for the Galaxy S23 Ultra. Now, compared to the S22 Ultra versus the S23 Ultra, the camera is bigger now on the S23 Ultra, physically bigger, and also the buttons are moved down. So Ice Universe is saying that's a good improvement, which I actually think it is as well. So if you have a bigger camera, potentially get in more light, better lit photos, and that's one of the bigger improvements that's supposed to be coming to the cameras of the S23 Ultra. But then alongside having the buttons move down on the phone on the side there, you're thinking potentially easier hand usability on the phone rather than having to reach higher up on the phone to access those buttons. They'll be a little bit lower, so it should be a little bit more comfortable. So that is, again, an overall good thing. And our last story of the day has to do with the RAM amounts and the storage amounts of the Galaxy S23 series of phones. We've been hearing all over the place. We heard that there would be no 128 gig model, and then we heard there would be, and now this is kind of going back against that there won't be. There will be, but there won't be, and you'll see what I mean in just a moment. So the information that's coming out is from Ahmed, and it has been confirmed by Ice Universe as well, saying, so the RAM, first of all, is going to be DDR5, DDR5X. It will not be DDR5, so it's actually going to be faster RAM, about 1.5 times better than DDR5. So that's a good thing. So you're getting faster RAM, the fastest RAM in a Galaxy phone ever. Galaxy S23 Ultra, it will have an 8 gig of RAM model with 256 gigs of storage, but then it'll also have a 12 gigabyte model of RAM with 256 gigs of storage, and then you'll also get it in 512 and 1 terabyte, but all 256 through 1 terabyte will have 12 gigs of RAM, unless you get the 8 gig of RAM 256, which I'll explain in a little bit, where you'll see where that will be available, the 8 gig of RAM. The most common version in the countries of the world will be the 12 gigabytes of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. If you get an S23 or S23 Plus, it'll come with 8 gigabytes of RAM no matter which storage version you get, and you can get either 256 or 512. Common will be 8 gigs of RAM with 256 gigs of storage. There is a version that will show 128 gigs. Very few countries will get it. So what it sounds like to me, based off this information, is it sounds like if you're in America or probably Korea, Canada, some of the bigger countries where this phone is sold, obviously I know there's more than that as well, it sounds like you probably won't be able to get an 8 gigabyte RAM model Ultra version. It sounds like you'll only be able to get the 12 gigabyte model. And then it doesn't sound like there's barely going to be any countries that get the 128 gig storage model. It's going to be mostly at 256. So a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, but a little bit more clarification at the same time in terms of those storage and RAM amounts coming out about this. The first story of the day has to do with the cameras on the Galaxy S23 Ultra and a new feature that it's going to get. It sounds kind of cool, and I probably will be interested in this. Now, the tweet is coming from Ahmed, and Ahmed is saying that Astro Hyperlapse is coming to the Galaxy S23 Ultra phone. You can shoot a short video clip from day to night in a professional way. There is a feature dedicated to photographing stars with high quality images, especially for the stars. So sounds like there's two things going on here. Short video from day to night, and then also a high quality image of the stars. Now, capturing a day to night photo, does that mean you have to leave your phone out the whole entire evening, which doesn't seem like a lot of people would end up using that feature because they don't want to leave their phone out at night all by itself. And then to add on to that, the dedicated getting better photos of the stars. I love that idea. I think that'll work out fantastic. It's like night photos, like kind of what we got now. I did a video on it actually. So we'll keep our eyes peeled on that, but it definitely sounds like a feature that's going to be kind of a selling point in a lot of ways for Folks, our other story has to do with an ad that Samsung officially pushed out. On Samsung China, they pushed out this ad, and I'm gonna show you a screenshot first and then we'll watch the ad together. But here's what it says. It says, if you notice what's inside the cameras in this ad, you will conclude what Samsung will focus on cameras, night photography quality, and picture of the moon and the stars, see thread to see what I mean. But basically, if you look at these photos down below, you can see that they're showing exactly kind of what we spoke about, that they're really gonna harness into and pick up a lot of quality in nighttime photos. And then mode for moonlight, capture the night even in low light. Stunning night photos are coming soon. And they're talking about the Galaxy S23 Ultra phone on there. So that's, you know, when we think about this in terms of the camera quality, you always want it to get better. And if you can improve in nighttime photos, which I don't always take a lot of nighttime photos, but it is something cool to take sometimes when I'm walking my dog or just out in the woods on a camping trip of some sort, or whatever. I think this is great to add that extra in. Let me story of the day has to do with the S24 Plus. S23s aren't even out yet, but what about the S24 Plus? There was a story coming out today that said it was going to be canceled per a Korean news story, but it looks like per one of our regular contributors to the show, a person that I use a lot, Max Jamber and also Roland Kwan, they're both saying that this article is just wrong. DM1, 2, and 3 are Diamond, aka 23 series, not the S24. There's plenty of proof they all exist. Starting S24 Plus isn't coming just because yet you're not capable of finding DM2 whenever you were looking for is just bad research, not a major story. And then Max Jamber says, right, S23 series is internally known as Diamond series. So if you had heard a story about the S24 Plus going away, these guys are saying it's not going away. But yeah, kind of crazy story, but to me, it's not a huge story. I would choose the Ultra every day, all day anyway. So yesterday, Samsung officially announced that February 1st will be the launch of the Galaxy S23 series of phone and the new Galaxy books. So we'll talk about the American side in a moment, but what about India? So India, per Ishan Agarwal, is saying that they have pre-reserves. If you pre-reserve the Galaxy S23 series in India at offline retailers and the official website, you can get 2,000 rupees just to pre-reserve and 5,000 rupees worth of e-vouchers as a benefit. Also, exclusive color options are available at Samsung Shop online, February 1st, 11:30 p.m. in India, 10 a.m. Pacific in the United States. And our last story of the day has to do with the American side of what we're going to get. Pre-order gifts, all that stuff. So February 1st, like I said, will be the launch date. And if you do pre-reserve, which is their pre-order, you can get up to $100 if you reserve both. You'll get that in store credit. If you just reserve one or the other, you'll only get $50 credit, which is kind of a turn off a bit. It's not that amazing. Hopefully they'll end up giving us more. I feel like they usually give us more once this starts happening. Like they'll give you like $150 of usable credit once you actually get the phone as well, when you're in the pre-order process. So don't take this as like this is the only thing that we'll end up getting. You'll probably end up getting more when you go through the actual pre-order process. So you'll probably get like an extra 50 or $100 if you do both, or one. You'll get the $50, but then you'll also probably get 100 or 150 bucks of pre-order credit as well once that goes through. So don't think that this is the only thing that you'll get. February 1st, you should also probably expect 2 Fridays from then, or actually February 6th, I think it's February 17th will probably end up being the actual release date, which means you'll get this phone around Valentine's Day, usually the people that pre-order it. First story has to do with the Galaxy Z Fold 5, the successor to the Galaxy Z Fold 4, and what to expect potentially. And there's 2 interesting things that are coming out of Vietnam about this. So the Pulse over in Vietnam has a story saying the Galaxy Z Fold 5 uses a strange 4nm CPU and has an S Pen tray. It says Z Fold 5 promises to be the best folding screen smartphone in 2023 with a series of important improvements from hardware to software. So ultimately what they're saying is that, first of all, the processor should still be a Snapdragon. It sounds like, based off their rumor, it's going to be some new customized Snapdragon 4nm processor, maybe not like a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, maybe it'll be like an 8 Gen 2 Plus, or maybe even something completely different that it's called. Maybe that's to reduce the cost or performance or a little bit of both. I don't know, but we'll definitely keep our eyes peeled on that exact information. And then an S Pen tray would mean it literally either connects on the outside to your phone or goes inside of some sort. There's gonna seemingly be a tray. We've heard this before though, and it hasn't come true. I don't know. I can see them pushing this more and more and be like, okay, we are gonna come out with an S Pen tray, and then other parts I'm like, they're not gonna do it. So again, we'll keep our eyes peeled on this. Is very preliminary information. The next Fold 5 will not even be out until like August of 2023, and that's still about 8 months away from now. So interesting stuff, to say the least. Stuff that I think people want to see as well. Even if you don't use the S Pen, just to have it housed inside of the phone would be a good thing. And then also remember, the Z Fold 5 is supposed to be a lot lighter in weight versus the Z Fold 4. And our last story of the day has to do with the S23 Ultra and some nice improvements that are coming that we kind of didn't really know about. So, and I think these are going to be more reasons to potentially upgrade to this phone. So here's the tweet from Ice Universe saying, the S23 Ultra noteworthy details have been improved. Speaker sound quality has been improved, especially the bass has been improved. So I always felt like, speakers are pretty good, but I've always personally liked the speakers a little bit more on the iPhone, for instance, especially the bass. So it's nice to see them improving the bass on the S23 Ultra. Focus problem is no longer a problem on the S23 Ultra. I haven't had a focus problem on an S20 Ultra phone since the regular 20. 21, 22 have been pretty good for me in terms of focus, so I'm happy with that. But still, if you're improving it, that's all good. Excellent anti-shake, meaning the optical image stabilization and the stabilization overall with video has been much improved. We heard about that one, so it's not that big of a difference. Excellent microphone. So the microphone has also been improved on the S23 Ultra. Again, another good thing to have on there. They already have pretty good microphones, but if you can improve it that much more, why not? I am all for it. First story of the day is, what are the S23 Ultras gonna look like with the new colors? Well, these are renders based off the official releasings of the phone. So I'm not gonna show you the official releasings, but these are really like near identical renders that someone created of the official render. So check these out. So these are the colors that you're gonna get initially with the Galaxy S23 Ultra. And when you look at these, what do you think? White? We're gonna have black, green, and like a lilac purplish color. I am gonna try to get either the white or the lilac purple type color. Secondary for me would probably be the green and the black in terms of, I don't know which one I would choose, one over the other. But definitely the white or the green, white or the purple, I should say, to get one of those. What are you guys gonna get out of those colors? Or even if you're not gonna get the phone, which color do you like best? Let me know in the comments down below. The other part of the story, the second story, is there is a special feature coming out per Ice Universe that has not been announced or leaked by anyone about the S23 Ultra, and he doesn't say what it is. He's like, there's some surprise at the end of this rainbow. There's a couple of guesses in the comments, but I don't know. I mean, what could it be? He doesn't fully go into detail with it, but it is quite interesting. We know some things about the camera, or at least a lot of things I should say about the camera. The 200 megapixel main camera, the ultra steady stabilization, better night photos, better photos overall, better AI, all that stuff. We know that. Better microphones, which will be part of that camera system because it's going to pick up in the audio when you shoot a video. First and only story of the day are the 4 changes that you're gonna see with the Galaxy S23 Ultra that we haven't really spoken about that might pique your interest. One of them we spoke about, but some of them we haven't seen in detail either, like side by side. So this is a great little showing of information. So without further ado, let's show this. So it's coming from Ice Universe. The first one is gonna be all about the side of the phone. So you can see the S23 Ultra and S22 Ultra side view comparison. It can be seen that the middle frame is widened, and we'll show that in a little bit. We'll have a better angle at that. The button is moved down and widened. So when you look at the buttons on this photo right here, you can see that the buttons are on the right hand side are moved down and they're a little bit wider, which I'll be honest, I think that's a great thing to have. It's gonna be easier to press the buttons and find the buttons as well. Also, the 3 cameras on the left are larger and seem to be a little thicker. The two protrusions on the right are significantly reduced. So when you look at these cameras on here, he's saying that the cameras on the S22 Ultra are larger and seem to be a little bit more thicker. I don't know, it sounds like that's what he's saying. To me, it looks like the Ultra might be a little bit thicker. On here, maybe that's what he meant, maybe he put the wrong word. And the other photo he has is from the S23 versus S22. The thickness of the metal frame is increased a little, which is in line with the data expectation. Surprisingly, the hole of the S23 seems to be a little bit smaller. So the camera hole is a little bit smaller on the S23 versus the S22 on there. So some things to think about, not huge things that are gonna probably make you buy or not get the phone ultimately, but some things to know about the phone, that there'll be some slight changes coming along that maybe we haven't really pointed out in full detail until just now. First story of the day has to do with the Galaxy Z Fold 5 and a new design that it's potentially going to have that'll help with the phone overall. So this tweet is coming from Ice Universe, who is saying that Samsung plans to apply the droplet hinge structure to the Galaxy Z Fold 5. Samsung internally calls it a dumbbell hinge. Water drop hinge plus waterproof is finally here. And I guess a lot of other companies that you make folding phones use this type of hinge in their phones, such as Oppo and Huawei and other companies as well. Now, potentially this might also help with the crease that's in the display itself in terms of making it less visible. I have an Oppo Find N2 here, and I have to admit, it's definitely less when I look at the hinge on these. I don't know if you can tell. I'll turn this display on. See, well, it's gonna be, I'll just make it black because maybe it'll be easier to tell. I can see it on both, but I don't know, it seems a little bit less on the phone here, the Oppo Find N2. So we'll wait and see what happens with that, but it seems like that'll be one of the new developments for the Fold 5 when it's released come August 2023. And our last story of the day has to do with the prices of the Galaxy S23, 23 Plus, and 23 Ultra. And also there's gonna be a delay of sorts in terms of release dates for some of the models. So this tweet coming out from RG Cloud is specifying that we will see the S23 regular, 8/128 and 8/256 at $799 and $749. The first number is the RAM, second number is the storage. On the Plus version, you'll get 8/128, 8 and 256 for $999 and $1049. If you get the Ultra, 8/256 is gonna be $1249. 12 will be $1349, and 12 and 1 terabyte will be $1499. So it seems like, if I'm not mistaken, these prices are higher than what we had last year with the Galaxy S22 phones. Also be wary, he says exclusive colors and the 1 terabyte delivery will be late, sometime between 2 weeks all the way up to 6 weeks max. So if you're wanting that 1 terabyte or one of the exclusive colors, you will have to wait. The exclusive colors, it seems like there's always a delay, so that doesn't seem like a surprise. 1 terabyte, if I remember correctly, last year was delayed as well for some of the phones. So again, not a huge surprise on some of that stuff, but is something to know that if it does ring true, this is, you know, some first news that you're hearing. And then those prices are way too high. If those are real prices, those are way, 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 way too high, especially for the Ultra version. That is extremely expensive for a premium phone. It's a couple $100, it's a few $100 more than a Pixel 7 Pro, and that's a great phone. And then iPhones, can't you get a 256 or a 128 for like whatever it is at, can't you get that for like $1099? And that's their main competition is iPhone. So this isn't good. What do you guys think? That'll be your question of the day. Those prices, if those are real, are those pushing you away? Do you think they're good? Let me know in the comments down below. Without further ado, let's jump into the Q&A. All right, first question of the day from Phil PJ Davis. Says he removed the screen protector on his Z Fold 3. Will Samsung accept it as a trade-in? Yes, they will. I always remove my screen protector on there. You have nothing to worry about. They will still accept your trade-in. And our last question from Atypical Link is the S23 Ultra a good phone if he's going to trade in this S22 Plus? I'd probably say no for you. There is some upgrades on there. Obviously the camera's better, the screen is bigger, brighter, better quality, better higher resolution, which you probably won't notice really. The charging is potentially faster. I don't think you got 45 watt on the S22 Plus. Could be wrong, but it's either way, even if you do or don't, it's not a huge deal either way on there. The battery is bigger. I'd say no. I mean, but if you need the latest and greatest, sure, do it. If you have a question, leave it in the comments down below with the hashtag question. We'll see you down the road.